Hello again, fellow YouTubers. Solomon Pleasant back for another Card 5 Vanguard deck profile, and today I've got my Nova Grappler deck that I recently built. Now, this thing isn't the strongest, but it still works for what it needs to. This isn't really a budget deck, but I'll just explain as I go. So, starting off for my Vanguard, I've got Lionette's Heat. I decided to use this thing because I didn't really see any other starters that really benefited me out there, and if this thing were to die, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but if I use his effect, it's not the worst either. His effect is, after you, besides ride him, put to rearguard Forerunner, blah blah blah. His effect is, when you put him into the soul, you can choose one of your Nova Grappler anythings and give it +3 until the end of the turn. So, yeah, it's a good starter. So for a trigger lineup, run 4 Turbo Razors because I like the stand trigger abilities to call it and then bounce it back later, so I can repeatedly use stands. I wish Aquaforce had something like that, but as far as I know they don't. But yeah, Turbo Razor does stuff. Awesome booster. Like Lozenge Magus, pretty much. For Battle Razor, because again, stand triggers are awesome in Nova Grappler decks, and does the exact... Wait, let me see here. This unit boost. So why does it not have the same thing as this? That's weird. Should have the boosting thing there, but yeah, when this unit boosts, the booster gets +3, and then Battle Razor bounces at the end of the turn. Again, pretty awesome. I like bouncing my stuff back to the deck so I can reuse it. It's a fun method. Next, we got 4 crit triggers of Red Lightning. Red Lightning looks cool, and his effect is pretty good. When you put him into the soul, unflip a damage from the damage zone. I find this to be very effective, and it works well for this kind of deck. Now, grant I don't use Counterblast all that often in this deck, but it's still nice to have, because trigger power doesn't really apply except for those 2 guys over there. Run 4 heal triggers of the Ring Girl Cholera, because I like this heal trigger better than Wallboy. I think you can understand why. Yeah, so anyway. 4 heals, pretty standard. Moving on to the grade 1s. I run 3 Queen of Hearts because I like her effect when boosting King of Heart. That's a nice little effect there, and it's pretty cool to activate. And, yeah. And it's just there for beat sticking, really. It's not good riding to Vanguard, but it's just there to help King of Sword. Pretty simple. Run 4 Clay Doll Mechanics because I like the ability to, when you place it, you get to unflip, and it's a cool art too. Not much else to say there except unflip damage. Unflipping is fun. I run 4 Death Army Guys. This is one of the main bulks of this deck because Death Army Guy has this little skill where if I drive check a grade 3, I get to stand him. So that's pretty cool. And very useful. And finally, for grade 1s, I run 4 Tough Boys, because Tough Boy. Brrr, Tough Boy! Yeah, AK beat stick, pretty simple. Moving on to grade 2s. Run 4 Death Army Ladies, because if you run 4 Death Army Guys, you want to run 4 Death Army Ladies. Same effect as Death Army Guy, drive check a grade 3, stand it. And that art is pretty cool as well. So, yeah. I run 3 King of Sword because I wanted to run 4, but I need to make room for Death Army Guy and Death Army Lady, so one of them had to come out, blah blah blah. Those, yeah, simple. King of Sword, stereotypical 10k beat stick. Not much else to say here, except when getting boosted by Queen of Sword, get +4, so it's a 20k row. I find 20k rows to be effective. Not much else to say there. One of my favorite cards in the deck, I run 3 Brutal Jacks or Genocide Jack if you want to be technical here. What Brutal Jack does is he's the restraint unit where you counterblast 1 and he becomes unrestrained, and on Vanguard when he gets boosted gains +5. So boosted by Lionette Heat over there, I can have a 20k column as usual. And yes, I have the more common rare than I do the other rare because this one was cheaper. I like Brutaljack. He's fun. Jack Attack. Jack Attacks are fun. And they're pretty useful considering it's only Counterblast 1. And I've got Claydol and a bunch of other things that can help me unflip damage. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Moving on to grade 3s. I'm going to touch base with those 3 later. Let's get to one of the main bulks of my deck. 4 Gold Rutiles. I love Gold Rutile. Gold Rutile is cool and amazing. Now, granted, his effect isn't the best, but one of his effects that I find really nice is if a rearguard attack hits the Vanguard, I get to unflip a damage. That's cool. And if my Vanguard's attack hits the Vanguard, I can Counterblast 2 and stand a unit. So say I draw check a grade 3 and then draw check a trigger to break. Not only can I stand my Death Armies, I can also Counterblast 2 and choose, like, say, something else I have and stand it. So, comes in handy. Now, right now, I have 1 Asura Kaiser and 3 Moai the Great. Moai gets boosted +2 standard. Now, under normal circumstances, I would have 4 Azuras, but it's freaking Asura Kaiser. It's hard to find. Asura Kaiser pretty much complements the Death Armies and says if I drive check a grade 3, I get to choose a rearguard and stand it. So not only do these guys automatically stand, I can choose something else to stand it. So this works out pretty well. If I had 3 more Azuras, I would use them, but for now, Moai is fine because Moai does stuff. So, yeah. So, that's pretty much my Beat Stick Nova Grappler deck, which I have dubbed, I don't have a name yet, I'll think of something later. Whatever. And it's really a Beat Stick deck. It's not meant to really do anything special except stand and repeatedly punch you in the face. That's really all it's meant for. And I built it because I can say, hey, I built a Nova Grappler deck. I somewhat know how to use Novas now. Hooray. And I got this SP at one point, so I'm like, might as well put to use with Gold Rutile over there because he's awesome. That art is amazing. Not much else to say here. This has been Some Pleasant, signing off.